Welcome back to the Think Strong podcast. I'm here with Macca once again. How the hell are you?
Good. Very, very good. Ready for another ep.
Ready to get cooking. I feel like we're going to be in the hot seat for some good quality episodes this week. As always, to be honest. Well, that's always the intention.
Yeah.
So this week we're going to chat a little bit about trend maxing. Maxing seems to be the buzzword of the current. How do we describe it? The current scene, whether it's fitness, whether it's just social media, because there's looks maxing, isn't there? There's lifestyle maxing, there's finance maxing,
skinny maxing.
Yeah, the list quite literally goes on. So we're going to kick off with
some podcast maxing.
Yeah, we're going to podcast max for the next 45 minutes to an hour and see how we go with it, which is kind of what this whole year has been about, isn't it?
Yeah,
getting things up and running. And on that point, if you are enjoying the podcast, or if you just would like to support us, but we hope you enjoy it anyway, just give it a share, give us a subscribe. We would very much appreciate that. But kicking things off, we've got some subtopics here: CrossFit, high rocks, gym pop, longevity. How would we max for each of them? Kicking off with CrossFit, what would be your 3 CrossFit maxing points? Satirical or non-satirical, your decision.
I mean, people CrossFit max with equipment that they don't need.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, they'll have 5 pairs of grips, but they can't do a kip swing.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, and they cannot do any weightlifting without putting their Olympic lifters on.
Yeah.
But like they've still got the biggest inefficiencies you've ever seen. Still don't understand, like, not even using hook grip or something like that.
That one is often seen, like I forgot my knee sleeves. That is not the issue.
Yeah. But we could go kind of either way with this, and I think we should maybe should go both ways with it. But you've got the CrossFit maxing of how not to be any good at CrossFit, and then you've got probably what's actually going to help you. Things that spring to mind, knee sleeves, equipment, moaning about a sore knee or a sore shoulder and then doing nothing about it, and approaching your training like an absolute bag of shit. Maybe the direct correlation or the direct opposite of that would be to focus on movement quality first, as simple as it is. Focus on being prepared for going into whatever you are.
There's always like the story there, right? Isn't it? It's like whenever we meet somebody that trains properly, they're always doing like movement mechanics stuff. They're always warming up properly. They're always focusing on movement quality. You just like see the way they set up for a back squat. It's just like how you should. And then just like we're saying, at the other end, you got someone like putting on the lifters, the knee sleeves, the wristbands, rogue top, fucking Noble shoes, with their bag on, coming into the gym, and then they just wallop like all the weight on straight away, and then they're just and you're just like, it's just a complete opposite end, isn't it? This is always like the lesson and the story there within, like, this is how the top level are doing it, or the people that are better at it. Just like take a little bit of notice from them.
Yeah, it leaves clues, doesn't it? It's hard because for the same reason that group training or CrossFit in this scenario is so good and effective at getting people to exceed like what they previously thought was possible. For the same reason, it means that they neglect the minutiae of things which are which can really help you to actually continue to progress, rather than reach that first ever plateau and then never move on from it.
Definitely.
What would you think high rocks would be? A nose strip, maybe?
Maxing. What's that?
A nose strip?
Nose strip.
A
NBA arm sleeves.
Yeah, I was going to say NBA arm sleeves. I wasn't going to call them NBA arm sleeves though, but I suppose that is what it's from. But they must be color coordinated with the only other piece of fabric you've got on your body, which is normally a set of 2-inch Nike shorts.
And your shoes that match as well.
Yeah.
With a carbon plating, even though you're running 8-minute kilometers.
8-minute kilometers, yeah.
I guess like on that, it's quite interesting actually. I don't think you had this on there, but the influencer running injury spike is really high at the minute. I don't know if you've seen anything about it on Instagram.
Specifically with influencers.
Yeah. Well, not so like fitness influencers. Lucy Davis, one of the big names. But people were like in the comments just like hammering her, and there's another girl who I can't remember her name. But she also got a stress fracture. Which obviously is from like under recovery and like them chasing, but they're chasing being better, right?
Yeah.
And like the net positive of people following them and then like getting into running or being inspired is obviously really good. But in the comments, people were just hammering them like, yeah, like you're overtraining, da da da. But the people that are saying that are probably not doing like anywhere near what they should be doing. But because it's on the internet, it's just easy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, people are pushed to one side of the spectrum. There's no happy medium. But yeah, and you can't be encouraged to train without being encouraged to overtrain. Like it's just one thing or the other. It has to be black and white. There's no nuance whatsoever.
Like they're obviously gonna learn from that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, they don't want to be injured. They're not going into every session like, yeah, I hope I get a stress fracture. Do you know what I mean? It's like their mindset is like they're just trying to be better.
Yeah.
And then like they've hit a roadblock where they're gonna have to pull back whatever they were doing and start again. But that's a lesson that they can take, and then other people will learn from that as well.
I think that is probably, that's a good way to put it. It is the biggest lesson, I think, when it does come to training, overtraining and pushing yourself. Normally in like a new avenue when people are maybe just getting into running. I can't remember who it was, but I think I've seen like an influencer, which was just a lifestyle guy getting into running high rocks. And he was dropping the classic, like, I know people say you need to rest this amount of time, but it's like, I just don't feel as though I need to. And then a few weeks later, it's like, injury, XYZ, burnout, all these different things. And it's kind of like, push yourself, but you need to not be so ignorant as well. Like if you're going to listen to training methodologies, how to better yourself, how to push yourself with, chasing performance goals, also listen to the other side of that, that everything related to the parasympathetic nervous system, which is going to support you in recovering and getting moving forwards as well.
I think, and like it kind of always has to get to that point when you're chasing something that you just learn the lesson yourself.
Yes,
doesn't matter like how many times you tell someone, like, because you don't ever know that kind of limit either. Whereas like the people that are saying like, oh, you're overtraining, they've never reached anywhere near a limit where they feel like they might get injured. Do you know what I mean? Because they never make any progress to get that far along the like continuum.
Yeah, exactly that. And I think that transfers into other things. I think Chris Williamson calls it escape velocity. I think that's the term. I could be butchering that, but it's like things have to get bad enough to elicit a change. Like you have to hate your job enough to be able to leave it and start entertaining ideas of how you're going to get around it. Otherwise, if it's not bad enough, you're never going to make a change. Likewise, you see it with like things politically as well. People that have been exposed to like worse conditions, more adverse things, have more extreme views because they have been exposed to the worst of whatever it is, and seems to carry over. That's why, like what we've said before, when it comes to sports and performance, being exposed to as many different things, especially as a coach, can be really helpful for you.
Because just broaden those horizons, right?
Whether it's adverse or not, you broaden your horizons, your experience of what you've been exposed to and how you deal with it makes a big difference.
A bit more of an intricate situation. Yesterday I was doing a PT session with a guy who's had like shoulder pain for 3 years, and the advice that he's had before is pretty poor, like from physios and stuff like that. None of it's like his fault, but he's like chronically like shortened, lengthened on the wrong side, and we went through loads of different movements to open everything up. Then the last movement we did was like integrating like the strength element into a movement. He has really poor like rib cage and pelvis relationship, and then we did a kettlebell armbar really, really light, and I said like let's do your stronger side first, because not only does he have a problem with his shoulder, he has a problem with his lower back on like the opposite side. So I wanted to look at like the good shoulder, working on the side of the hip, and he was fine on that side. Then we went to the other side, and like when I was watching him, because pain is very complex, and like I could tell that he was waiting to feel the shoulder hurt. On the other side, he was like so confident as he was like rolling through and punching, and then he would come to the other side, and he was like, I could see that he was waiting. As soon as he felt it, pulled out of it straight away. Do you know what I mean? It's like he needs to learn to have confidence in his body again, because like the other stuff that we were going through, the speed and stuff that we were moving through stuff, I was like, as soon as you feel the pain, stop, stay there, breathe, think about the pressure that you're putting through the movement, whatever it was. We were doing it's kind of like a javelin stretch where you like punch the PVC and then you rotate away from it as you're pressing. So just like teaching him to control that position that he would be in, like with a push press or a snatch if he was wider. But yeah, it's like so complex, isn't it? He's like, because his body is like so scared of being in that position with pain, it just shuts down like straight away.
That massive overcorrection then limits you in such a way where you start to think that you've got issues which are maybe worse than they actually are, or maybe in different areas that they are. How often do you hear people say, I've got this shoulder injury, impingement, obstruction, don't really know what it is, feeling it in the front, when actually the problem comes from the posterior. That's happened to me. That's happened to so many people.
Yeah. But the body is like also very clever in like protecting you. Yeah. So like the one that you're talking about, the biggest highlight that we saw, I don't know if you remember, it was like quite soon after we got here, but you jumped up onto the bar and you're doing like an L-sit hold.
Yeah.
And like the body is so clever. Like as soon as you went up and you got tight, I think it was your left trap, just like boom, straight away. It's just like the trap's like, I can do the job that doesn't want to do. And the body just takes you to that strong point.
Yeah.
And that's similar to the guy that I was working with yesterday. It's like teaching him how to use his body again and have confidence there. So also that was like a nice lesson for me to see. Like I could see his brain was ticking, and as he was coming over, he looked more tense as well. So it's like being able to teach the body to like be in control. And it's the same in a fitness setting, isn't it? It's like people will stop as soon as they feel, I don't know, the slightest bit of like stress or discomfort. That's a confidence thing as well. Yeah, I mean, there's like so many examples. I had a PT earlier in the week with a lady who she wanted to do PT because she's like, I don't know where my limit is. She would do like 8 reps, and then as soon as that started feeling like a tiny little bit hard, she would stop. And I'll be like, in the PT setting, we're just going to go, I want you to get to 10. If there's more in the tank, we're going to continue. And like I could see when she got to 8, she was starting to be like, oh. And I was like, keep going. She did like 14 reps. And like she was completely fine. And after, she's like, I never thought that I could do that. But she normally trains like in a class.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's a different environment where you don't maybe feel as safe, or there's like a bit of a time constraint. In different scenarios for different types of athletes as well, people that are actually trying to push performance is quite good, and using a methodology that encourages that, something like Wendler's 5-3-1, where you've got an AMRAP. I've surprised myself so many times when you get to that AMRAP, and that's why I think is so good, to be able to put yourself in a position where you can exceed your previous limits. Like I did, I think I did 150 kg back squat for 11 reps, and like I'm not a particularly good back squatter, like and that kind of goes to show like how you can shift performance, shift your perception of where you're at, by dictating it in a certain way. And maybe that's even a thought that you can lend to with your programming as well, if you feel like someone's maybe limiting themselves with maybe their own beliefs a little bit as well. Yeah, definitely. I think we a bit of a tangent there, but it's good.
I'd say it's a pretty big tangent.
Get back to
off CrossFit maxing, yeah. But no, I think
High Rocks maxing.
High Rocks, yeah. But we kind of went down the route of overtraining and how that's almost a bit of a trend. Maybe we can touch on what we think is like a sensible level of training or training volume or running volume even for people that just want to be better at high rocks. I feel like people are definitely looking at the people that are in like elite 15 or really high up the ladder when it comes to getting inspiration for their running volume. And I don't think that volume is not all laying in volume. A lot of that progress that people have.
I think that the one thing we try to give people from this pod as well, and like in our normal jobs that we do, is like be able to not see through the shit, but be able to look at something and just think like critically, yeah, that's probably not right for me, but I can take things from that. So like you said, they're looking at the top level. But like I said, these people are running like 5, 6, 7, 8 minute kilometers. Like, that's fucking slow really for high rocks. Do you know what I mean? And like, which is fine, but like you can't then go and do the same amount of volume as someone else. They're completing it in fucking half the time that you're doing it in. There's like the 10% rule with like increased running volume, which is good. But like a lot of people that are getting into high rocks now, like are not running at all really to begin with.
Yeah.
And they're going from 0 to like, it's an extreme. Even coaches that we've seen like around us have gone from like no running, and then like week 2 of the new cycle, their calf's gone. Do you know what I mean? It's like, that's probably not necessarily because like they're just unprepared for the running straight away. It's like your body, it's the same with anything. Your body takes time to adapt, right?
Yeah. And you can kind of rest on laurels of having done sport and stuff in the past, but that takes you so far. That might mean that your rate of adaptation might be a little bit quicker, might feel a bit more familiar, like mentally you might be a bit more checked into it. But I think if me and you were preparing for a high rocks now, we'd still start at a very, very basic level, not being crazy with running volume that we're chucking at ourselves to start with, because I think that's something that we've had exposure to is starting too big too soon is a recipe for disaster with running. And it kind of is the same for a lot of other things, in that when you are trying to progress, looking directly to the top or the elite level of performance for your next step is not always the best thing to do. You know, even whether it's business, whether it's, you know, a completely different sport, realistically, you need to be looking at the person who's on the next rung of the ladder, maybe the next 2 rungs of the ladder, not the person who's at the top, because what they're doing is going to be incredibly different to what they have done to move up the rungs of the ladder all the way they have.
Yeah. It's like that's like being in a corporate job and start acting like the CEO, just like at your desk.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? It's like, well, who's ahead of you in that job? It's like, maybe start having some of those like values and the time spent doing that within your team, and then you're going to get promoted within it. Do you know what I mean? It's that same kind of thought process, but in fitness, everything seems to be like disregarded pretty quickly, and people just like you said, overshoot and then fall short, and then everything goes backwards from there.
Yeah, very true. And I think same occurs for people that aren't necessarily training for performance. I mean, out here we've got a lot of, in Bali that is, we've got a lot of lifestyle maxers, I would say, maybe even longevity maxers, people that are very much into health, wellness, training, and they want to just be the best that they can be, which is cool. But you see the same thing. People jump into something. It might be like kettlebell training and become a completely obsessed with training with the kettlebells and taking a massive leap into that world. And maybe come across an injury, maybe come across just burnout. But the list is very similar to what it would be when you're tracing performance of a bit more of a path well trodden.
Yeah, I think some people are just so easily influenced as well, aren't they? Within like you said, they do kettlebell. I think it's like the best thing ever. Or like someone will have a knee injury, and then they'll look at the knees over toes guy, and they'll just do that for like forever.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, yeah, but this thing really helped my... Yeah, because you haven't put your knee over your toe
Yeah.
for like 3 years.
Yeah.
That's why you have knee pain.
Nor have you ran, sprint, jumped.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And then they're like getting a brand new stimulus from something new. It's like, yeah, it's going to feel better.
Yeah.
Like most people, if they look at their training program and you're like, you have a bit of an injury or a niggle, look at your training program and be like, what is not in my training program? You start doing those things. Most of the time you start feeling better.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like you have no frontal plane work, so you don't move left or right. As soon as you start doing that, you're like, oh, everything, like my hips feel great. I can squat better.
Yeah.
My knees feel better. It's like there's always a kind of a story there with the programming as well. And like that's why good programming gets better results. So.
Exactly that. And the same thing goes for outside of the gym as well. You might feel really good in your first few saunas and ice baths, but when that cycle does a full cycle, I suppose, for lack of a better expression, you might feel that like, okay, maybe I'm actually put myself under too much stress, or maybe this is actually not supporting what I thought it was to start with. But that initial hit is like it is dangerous for pulling people in sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah, I think like with the whole maxing thing, one thing we spoke about it a long time ago. But with the maxing thing, it's like the total load, right, of your, say, the total load of your day that goes into your week, your month, your year, your life, whatever it is. It's like, yeah, the whole maxing thing is, if training is like that 20% that you're blowing into like 40% of that day, that's obviously going to take a toll on everything else, like your recovery, your sleep, nutrition, your stress levels, cortisol, whatever it is, it's going to blow everything else out. And like, that's one thing that they don't look at either, is it? It's like, yeah, you can only max so far.
Yeah.
So how much of your 100% are you going to take up?
Exactly that. And if you are one of these people that jump into things, your ceiling for your max is probably going to be a lot lower than the person that you've got the protocol off. So yeah, you are actually going to be in more likely of a position to reach your max and be limited by it than the next guy a lot of the time.
Yeah, I think when they look at people, I don't know, like like William Googe.
Yeah.
Like he obviously has a huge capacity for like running and stuff, but now you see everyone just signing up for like an ultra or whatever it is. And I don't know if it's like social media's got a big part to play in it, but imagine like the training that he's done in his life to be able to have that capacity now. He's done so much stuff in his past.
Yeah. Like
so many different running events and constant, like, to get to where he is. But people just see that and they're like, yeah, I want to do that. Yeah. It's like, you work 9 to 5. How the fuck are you going to fit all of that training in and around it? And like we're saying, recover, get to that position. It's just like, I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it's going to get to a point where you can't recover from it.
You just got to understand the process of it, and that will take you a whole lot further, right? I wonder how much of an impact, like him being like a fashionable guy supported by a fashionable brand represent is very in, isn't it? Yeah. So I wonder if people that just associate with the brand are like, oh yeah, I want to chase that, which is good. Like that is the way branding works, right? Yeah. And that's the way kind of idols and heroes work in the sports world and the performance world. But sometimes when you maybe see someone like that extracted from what would traditionally be an endurance event where I don't know, maybe he's wearing some dorky glasses, he's got some 10-year-old hokers on with them absolutely screaming because they're pulled so tight or something along those lines. I don't know. Maybe if it wasn't so cool, it wouldn't draw people in so much. Which, like I said, it's a good thing. Like branding and all that stuff is good. Like everyone that has an online presence and is building a personal brand is essentially doing that in a way. But maybe when you are getting yourself pulled towards something, you have to remember at what stage you need to start at and move up through the
how to get levels. There. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, cool. If you had to drop 1 point for high rocks, CrossFit, and longevity, just a few words on what you think is the most slept on thing for each of those, what would it be? It could be the same one for all of them.
It's probably sleep for longevity.
Yeah.
Still, people will do the same cycle: go to bed late, wake up early, and then think they should have gone to bed earlier.
I've got an interesting point on that, but I'll follow up afterwards because I want to get your 3 before we move on.
High rocks would probably be volume of actual high rocks movements, just like overall volume, and really people are just doing too much of the wrong stuff, so it's a little bit like. And then CrossFit, across the board, just focus on technique would be like skill.
Yeah,
would be that's the most overlooked thing, like development of skill.
Yeah, if you're going to do extras, I definitely agree with that. Like if your first port of call, if you're doing extras, it's skill and like refining of technique, as opposed to anything else really.
I'll say no substitute for it. Like
yeah,
better you are at something, the easier it's going to be.
Exactly. It's important to remember that they are incredibly high demanding movements when it does come to skill, so they're going to need that slight bit more of attention.
What about your 3?
My 3, exactly the same for CrossFit. When it comes to high reps, very similar. I would say when you look at running, maybe you can look at progressing other things without just progressing your volume. Maybe you can progress your intensity of your running in isolation. Maybe you can progress your pre-fatigue or your compromised at running. But
even the skill of running.
Yeah, your quality, your gait.
Yeah.
How you're striking the floor. There's so many different things. Maybe plyometrics goes in with that one as well. Probably is something that's quite slept on, to be honest. And then for longevity, maybe just that progressive approach, but also maybe not being afraid to implement elements of intensity. And when I say intensity, I mean actual challenging loads when it comes to strength training, rather than being in the mindset of I train for longevity, therefore I don't need to perform anything over an RPE 7. Like, no, like proximity to failure is quite important, and it's also a massive marker for longevity as well when it comes to like building muscle. We know that proximity to failure is a massive contributor to that. And we know that muscle mass and strength is a massive contributor to later life and during longevity. So
I think not just it's like not just the longevity thing's so good, because I think we spoke about it a little bit before, but like within training, like you said, training to failure, you're probably going to enjoy the training more as well because you feel like that benefit from it. But like on the flip side, just in life, longevity, like the research shows that people that like drink coffee and tea live longer, but it's like it's not drinking the tea or the coffee, it's like the event of that happening that gives the person like happiness,
right? Okay.
Or like that effect.
Okay,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You look at like European countries where people like drink coffee, have a fag, with their mates,
like the like, social environment,
that social like environment
okay.
of like it elicits like the same response as you like achieving something as well.
So you can substitute all your fitness goals for coffee. Coffee and fact. This is the news I've been waiting for. That's what you call Europe maxing.
Yeah. But it's really interesting. Like, there's quite a lot of research behind it.
Yeah. I've seen things where they look at like the areas of the world that have the best longevity, where people live the longest, and very often you've got like Mediterranean culture, big social. I think Singapore as well. I think there's a lot of like,
and obviously Japan. Ikigai. The book is like so good. Talks about just like everything that they bring together. Family
and social kind of factors combined, and on a regular, like almost daily basis.
What do you reckon the longevity factor in the UK is? It's rained every day so far this year.
Yeah, you're never going to get skin cancer because there's no sun. Maybe that's the biggest one.
Yeah, fuck.
I feel obliged to chip in with that part about sleep, which I was going to say before we move on. I've spoken about my sleep woes for a little while on this podcast, and what's actually helped me the most in recent times is as a result of listening to Diary of a CEO of all podcasts. Don't delete me for it. He had a sleep expert on, and he was talking about various things and how routine of sleep can actually trump a lot of other things, especially if you are struggling. And I found that staying up later has actually helped my sleep so much. I'm getting up earlier, so I'm feeling as though maybe I'm actually getting less sleep, but the quality of when I'm in bed is so much better.
Yeah.
How's your sleep at the moment?
Really good, actually. Changed the environment a little bit. We moved from the front bedroom to the back bedroom. It's a lot darker. Okay. Like, I don't really have loads of problems sleeping too much, but when I was younger, I had real bad like insomnia.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned it before, maybe on one of our season 1 episodes.
Yeah.
But when I went traveling on my own, I was, before that, leading up to that point, horrendous sleep. And then first night I was in a hostel in Bangkok, slept for the longest time I've slept in about 2 years.
So you just needed to be surrounded by some strangers.
It was just different environment, and like it was so weird.
Yeah.
And actually since then it's been way better.
Am I right in thinking in one of our first places that we were living in, you weren't sleeping particularly well, the one where the roof fell in?
Yeah. Yeah.
Was that because you could hear the structural integrity of the roof degrading?
I don't know what that was, but it's really interesting, like you said, because I can't remember his name, but there's a guy. Was the guy on the podcast called Matthew Walker? He's the guy that wrote Why We Sleep.
I can't remember.
He wrote the book anyway about sleep. But anyway, there's a guy that works for Bulldog Gear called Andrew Tracy. You might have heard of him. He's done loads of like men's health and fitness stuff. Good guy, like really knowledgeable. He once was talking about all of this information that comes out. People will just believe it straight away, right? So like James Nestor, breath, brings a book out. Like it's all about breath. Wim Hof, cold water therapy. Why We Sleep at Walker. These are what you have to do to sleep. Keto, whatever it might be. Everyone reads the book. Yeah, that's exactly what I need to do. Whereas like he went and found all of the research that went completely against like these books and stuff, and then he would make his mind up like after that. Do you know what I mean? It's like really interesting. It's like I was saying, like the consistent sleep time and stuff is good, or like the amount of sleep that you need, but it's always like stuff that you just see and then everyone's like, yeah, you definitely need to do that. Whereas like he would always go and find all of the research like that's against it, and then just try and find his way like within it. It's quite an interesting thing to do.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Definitely. I feel like if I got too deep into that, it would be to my own detriment. I think it would. I just never believe anyone about anything. I'd just be like, well, give me 2 hours and I'll find a response as to why I shouldn't eat 5 a day or whatever it is.
Interesting though, is like you can make your own mind up from that.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, that should go for as many things as possible, really, rather than this. Is it group think? People describe it as so many different things that people kind of hop on the bandwagon with. But moving swiftly on and seamlessly into our next topic, which does follow on quite nicely from what we were talking about before, competing in functional fitness and what it leads to. We're seeing a little more kind of the, I'd say like the middle round functional fitness competitions come up. In the UK, you've got ATHEX. I think that's soon to be like in continental Europe and maybe Australia as well.
I think it's started in Europe already,
Yeah, and then Turf Games as well. And obviously they are a little bit more basic in their programming, I suppose you'd say. The events are a little bit more separated when it comes to strength and conditioning. There is a Metcon involved with it as well, which is cool, and it gives people a really nice entry level into things that are a bit more mixed modal.
I think with ATHEX they've really tried to just go S&C.
Yeah.
Like S&C and what they believe functional fitness is, but they don't have the higher skill elements in there. So that like turf does. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of like ATHEX, turf, if you're thinking about skill level, and then leading into like a CrossFit comp. Do you know what I mean? They don't have like gymnastics or anything like that, but they just have like pure functional fitness.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to talk about, like what the follow-on is from something like that, because it gives people a really good taste of it. But from my understanding, it changes once a year, right? The programming for ATHEX.
The elements stay the same, as in like strength, endurance, metcon, but within the elements, it changes the stimulus of the strength or the whatever it is. Because I believe it was like a 12-minute run and a 12-minute bike before. This time it was a run and a row.
And is that within the year, or is that every year?
Every year, I think, is different.
Okay.
So like a year cycle of one thing, and then.
But the movements are different throughout the different events.
So say year one, it would be like 5 rep max strict press, 10 rep max back squat, max pull-ups in the strength element. And that would stay consistent through the year, because I believe they have like finals at the end of the year. And then
that's what I thought it was,
Yeah, then the following year it would be like 3RM deadlift or whatever, so on and so forth.
Yeah, which I think is really good. But I feel like once you've done one, maybe you're kind of already ready for the next challenge. At the same time, having...
If you want to progress.
Yeah, that's it. If you want to progress. At the same time, though, with it being relatively separate with strength and conditioning, relatively basic to train for in that sense, that still allows you like an easy switch back to other things. If you wanted to do a high rocks, if you wanted to do a half marathon, that transition for your training is really quite minimal, isn't it? Mm-hmm. You just need to make it a bit more specific for a little while. So I would say probably like you said, the next rung on the ladder from ATHEX is probably Turf Games.
Mm-hmm.
A nice progression there. But maybe it's because I'm biased from the kind of CrossFit world. I would look at myself in that situation, and I would see myself chomping at the bit for the next kind of mixed modal thing. Maybe people aren't like that. Maybe people dread the mixed modal or the metcon side of.
I think that's why. I think that's why most people that are shit at CrossFit love high rocks. Because, you know what I mean? You don't have to put the time and effort into the skill stuff.
Yeah.
Which can be really frustrating. And if you don't have that like forward-thinking mindset of like forward-thinking meaning going backwards and actually refining the skill, like we mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Then they can just go out and do a run and improve and get better in that way, and then leads into high rocks or like an ATHEX.
Yeah, that's very true, because although we said earlier in the pod about starting at the correct level for where you're at, it's very possible that you can come from another sport with quite a high running background or a high running bias and slot into something like high rocks without too much transitioning, and still be able to reach like a good level of intensity and what feels like good level of training without taking next to any backwards steps when compared to something even like a Turf Games. All right, we've seen like a few people get exposed on some Turf Games events in weeks gone by, which is quite funny, because it's some of these things we would consider like a staple movement, like if you've been in the industry for a while at least, anyway. But there you go. If you're not willing to take any backwards steps or any adjustments to what you're doing to even get slightly better at it, then you're going to risk being disappointed with yourself every time you do it.
I think they do move into each one like really nicely. Do you know what I mean? It's like if you do get good at the S&C and refine the skill of just squatting, deadlifting, pressing, pulling, because it's all it is at the minute. It's like, I don't think they've done bench, but they've done like strict press, vertical pull in. They've done like a max reps and then a weighted, and then they've done back squat, front squat, deadlift, like everything you should be doing anyway. If you get better at that, then the natural progression would be to go and express it in a more conditioning setting, which you can do that in turf. They have like odd objects as well in turf, don't they? Which is good. And then that can, if you get better at that stuff, that builds like broadens your horizon if you do want to get into CrossFit. You could even like just look at those events and think about like how you would plan your year out if you were progressing properly.
Yeah.
it's quite good as a coach to have options to put, like recommendations to put people in certain places as well.
Yeah.
Like maybe you should do this, maybe you should do that, and use that as similar to what you would do if you were just giving people a CrossFit competition to do. You're like, maybe you go there and do like RX, maybe you should do intermediate or scaled in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite interesting.
Yeah. I'm actually programming for someone. Shout out Jack, who's a avid listener, for Fittest in the City Turf Games, which I think might be in 1 week for him if I'm getting the drop of the episode correct. But yeah, we were chatting about some of the events and like dropping in some tasters for him and his training. But one gripe I have with the Turf Games program is that there's so much posterior, so much hinging. It's like row, farmer's carry, sandbag, sandbag over shoulder, sandbag carry, run. It's just all fucking lighting up the posterior.
And like worm.
Yeah, and worm clean and jerks or something, and then maybe like
it's always paired with like a box jump over.
Yeah, and like, there's never much squatting involved. I always find as well. I can remember in the early days of doing my first few turf games, like waddling away from every event, low back absolutely in tatters. Cool. Moving swiftly on. Final subcategory today: performance enhancers, and kind of how it relates to the sports that we've spoken about a little bit already. Obviously, performance enhancers. We're talking about kind of additionals here. Whether it is, we've got peptides. There's anabolics, and there's non-anabolic steroids as well, isn't there? All of which are actually banned in High Rocks as well, believe it or not, in CrossFit, and depending on your event, if you are doing marathons and things like that, very likely as well. I haven't looked into it, but probably depends on the federation that you're doing it attached to. Maybe, I don't know. But at like an amateur level, do you think that things like peptides, which are relatively new on the scene, do have a place, have a kind of a foothold in like the average person's training recovery? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, with the recovery peptide, BPC and TB 500, I don't even know what happened to my shoulder, but it was like the severity of the pain was high, and then I was like, had some that I could use. And skeptical, like read all of the research, did a cycle for nearly 2 months. 2 months before I went back to England last year, and like felt a massive like positive impact. I could train pretty much like 2 weeks after. But also that's like anecdotal, right? I know a lot of people that have used it and it hasn't had the same effect, but they've just had like a little bit of pain. So it's like, the research is like nor here nor there. That specific peptide obviously sends just more help to where you need it, rather than just like actually changing anything within the tissue. Then you look at like other peptides that are coming out, they help promote growth hormone, but that can also, if you look at the research, it can promote anything else within your body to grow that could be negative. So say for example you had like a cyst or a growth or cancerous fiber or whatever, it could promote growth within that as well. And when you ask, for the listeners that don't know, I have 3 arachnoid cysts in my brain which are like not harmful unless damaged. Think about like smashing your head or whatever. So there's a mixture of one peptide that I wanted more information on. So I asked around like for some neurosurgeons, and endocrinologists to see if anyone had any. And then one girl was like, yeah, I know a neurologist that takes peptides who will have information. So like contacted him. He had like no information at all on whether it would like impact growth, like positively, negatively. Do you know what I mean? It's like if someone's in that area of expertise and they don't know the answer, it's like what are you walking into? Do you know what I mean? People, And it's funny because we're talking about maxing. People will lifestyle max, longevity max, but then they'll inject something into their body they know nothing about.
Yeah.
So it's like the hypocrisy is like nuts.
Yeah.
Like with the recovery one that I took, I was like, read all of the research, looked at all the positives, all the negatives, and then I was like, I'll try it and see. And then like anecdotally, yeah, for me it worked well. But as soon as I felt like I was out of the woods, I stopped taking it. But yeah, it's interesting. Like with the weight loss peptides, obviously skinny talk is a big thing at the minute, isn't it? I'm not on TikTok, but I hear about it.
Funnily enough, it's not in my algorithm.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have heard a little bit. Yeah.
But with that, like in the fitness space, that seems like a bit, I don't know what the word would be, hypocritical as well, right? It's like you're giving as a fitness coach, I don't think, or working within fitness, I don't think that's something that you should be prescribing to somebody. Like if your values are like in the right place and where you should be promoting stuff, like, and the process that it takes to get there. It's like, even like if you look at, like, we'll talk about anabolics as well, but if you look at an anabolic steroid, you still have to train to get the stimulus to grow. Whereas like with the weight loss stuff, you can just take it and you can neglect everything else. And there's no like research to support the long-term effects of it yet. The one that everyone's taking at the minute has no, it's in like its second trial, and it has no, like, still a trial drug, and they have no information on the detrimental effects long term.
Yeah,
because it's new. Because it's working so well. I read a bit of a paper that like it's probably going to get bought by someone, and then it will be made harder to get or illegal anyway. Because the Ozempic one attacks like, it's like GLP-1, but the retatrutide, the one that everyone's banging at the minute, attacks like 3 different things at once. That's why the weight loss is so rapid. But within that, like, yeah, maybe in a bodybuilding setting where it's like your life that you need to get into the best shape possible for that event, maybe it's a positive for you there. But if you're an average Joe, like, the effects could be very detrimental if you don't even know don't even know what's going to happen after.
Yeah, exactly that. I think that's the main takeaway, isn't it? Is to be clued up on whatever it is you're even entertaining the idea of. Just to clear up, like, what an actual peptide is comparatively to, something like an anabolic, where the difference lies is that from my understanding, it's an amino acid, right?
Yeah.
Which amino acids, you'd normally get full chains of amino acids from food and stuff, and obviously from your food, your body extracts signals and produces hormonal responses as a result of that. Here, you're directly giving yourself the amino acid, which is going to provoke the desired response. Where what you were talking about with, like, helping you get over that kind of unknown injury, I think it will be good for us to set out the differences between that and people that might have a mental block when it comes to like weight loss or something like that. We know, because we're coaches, that we're probably doing absolutely everything right when it comes to movement, when it comes to training, nutrition, sleep, recovery. Everything's in line, and then you get this injury which you can't move over, and you understand that the risk is worth the reward to push yourself to try this, see if it works out anecdotally, because you've deciphered that the risk is is definitely worth it. On the flip side of that, it's so different when people have not explored like a proper protocol when it comes to training. Very often it's just a case of lifestyle factors which aren't in line, but it feels like a block, and then people are coming to almost like the same outcome when the circumstances that dictate where they're at are actually completely different without them knowing that. And from the outside, it might look like they've arrived at the same the same outcome, and that's justified, when in reality it really isn't. So yeah, just to kind of explain the difference in circumstances of kind of where you're at, like it's something completely different, and you've got everything in line, nutrition, training program, everything is correct, whereas on the flip side of that, people haven't even spent the time to work with a professional to allow them to see those things, but they're willing to take the easier route.
I think it's a little bit of a touchy subject, but with the weight loss stuff, it's like the problem that it's mostly, I'm going to say, like the men and women that are taking the weight loss one. It's the older generation from us, really. It's like the 30, 35 plus, which is like when they were younger, all the marketing for them was about being slim, being skinny. And obviously, like if you haven't been able to have that for your whole life through poor decision making, lack of effort, whatever it might be, but you still have that mindset. Remember what you mentioned, marketing, and how good it was, and like how gripping it can be for people. People live like their whole life with that mindset to now, I can just take something and get it instantly. It's like you said, they're arriving at that circumstance, but they still haven't done any of the work to change their thing. And really, it's quite sad, because it's like it's like their mindset from probably the age of like 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 has been like so clouded by the information that they've got there that it's stayed with them forever.
Yeah. Do
you know what I mean? It's not like they might be thinking, it's going to make me like feel better about myself, when like they could have just worked on themselves anyway, instead of like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's the like personal justification, isn't it? And yeah, like that mindset, although they might know that it's almost wrong, they are almost so emotionally tied to that, whether it's subconsciously or consciously, that they feel as though that has to be the answer in it, and it's justified just by, I don't want to say vanity, but that's just, like you said, feeling better within themselves. When feeling better within yourself is it can be a bit of a false clue sometimes, can't it? False tell.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a lot more complex than like just taking it, but that emotional side of it is like massive. And like when you mix emotion with like split second thinking or something that comes readily available like that, it can be a slippery slope.
Exactly that. No, I very much agree, and especially if we relate it back to CrossFit, I think there'll be some crocodiles tears shed if anyone gets dragged off the podium and testing positive for peptides. But in High Rocks, I very much doubt that's going to be the case. I just before this pod asked ChatGPT on High Rocks' take on it all, and it's banned apparently and they hold it to the same WADA standards as a lot of other things, but really? I can't imagine many people in the Birmingham NEC getting dragged away after getting on the podium. Can you?
No. I think it's only if they
get told to.
I reckon it's only if they get in, surely, to the
Elite 15.
Yeah,
maybe.
It's got to be.
Yeah,
surely.
It did say pro and open podium finishes as well. So
really,
yeah, if you come fourth, you're fine.
Fucking worth a risk. But on like actual anabolics, like I remember when I was growing up reading like really old school training books that bodybuilders would publish, and they would write in the book, like not all of them, but some of them, they'd be really open with like what they were taking. It's like really interesting like insight when I was younger to like just see like whatever they were taking. I recently watched like the Arnold documentary, which is good. It's like 3 parts. First part's about bodybuilding, the second part's about him being a movie star, and the third part obviously him being the Californian, what was the word? What was he called?
Yeah, I can't remember.
Not
mayor, no.
Something like it was that, mayor or like, can't remember off the top of my head.
How much we know about
politics. Yeah. But I mean, they've had a bodybuilder in charge and now they've got a lunatic. But yeah, it's really interesting. In that documentary, he was like talking about where he got to naturally, and he won like, I mean, his journey was nuts anyway, but he got so far naturally, and then when he moved to like Miami, and that was when he got introduced to like anabolics and then started taking them, and then obviously continued to win like off his records, just ridiculous. But just like openly talking about it, which I think is good because like they're obviously about everywhere.
Yeah.
But I think it's probably, I mean, you can always see it anyway.
Yeah.
And smell it half the time when people are training. But
see it on the back knee.
Yeah, as well. But it's like the more honesty around that stuff would probably be better.
A lot, and I think in like the older days of bodybuilding, the doses were much lower.
Yeah, control, but it's like steroid maxing, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's the thing. Yeah, people are willing to dive in and think more is better, as well as starting earlier as well.
Yeah.
That means your natural production is, heavily reduced or almost non-existent when it does come when you get to an earlier age than what other people would have reached. And you want to keep moving forwards. And then I think the mental side of that comes in as well, because people get body dysmorphia and they hate the feeling of coming off the compounds, the hormones, whatever they are, as well, because the impact that those chemicals have on your mind is like, you feel amazing when you're on them, but then likewise when you're not producing any yourself, you're feeling like a shell of your previous self.
Yeah, and I think it makes me sound old, but like back in the day when people were doing stuff like this, it was like properly calculated. Do you know what I mean? And they like had common sense around it. Whereas like now everything's like got to be the biggest and the best. More is better. Like social media has just blown everyone's mind to like pieces. They can't think straight. You look at like that bodybuilding scene, like how many people have died like within the last like 5 years. It's crazy. Like back in the day, people were just like, they would calculate it more. Even them like putting everything in their logbook, like what they're taking and stuff. Do you know what I mean? It's all like done properly.
Yeah.
Not that I'm advocating taking steroids, but like if you are going to do it, probably be sensible about it.
Definitely would make sense, wouldn't it? I think that's a nice place to wrap things up. Very nice episode. Looking forward to the next one. Any closing words?
Like, share, subscribe. Had a little look at our map of listeners, and it's worldwide, which is pretty cool. We do know people kind of everywhere, don't we?
Yeah.
But people like listening rather than watching.
Yeah. So if you want to watch, you can boost our YouTube views a little bit. That would be appreciated. But yeah, thanks for
just
support.
Watch it, put it on mute. Yeah, just so we get more views.
Ciao.